Hey everybody, Tim Albrecht here, and welcome to this week's episode of the Ask a YFP CFP segment of the Your Financial Pharmacist Podcast, where we feature questions from you, the YFP community, to be answered by one of YFP Planning's fee-only certified financial planners. Before we jump into today's question, I want to give a shout out to YFP Planning's incredible team that makes this segment possible. YFP Planning offers fee-only comprehensive financial planning services that are customized to the pharmacy professional. You can learn more and book a free discovery call by visiting yfpplanning.com. Again, that's yfpplanning.com. Okay, this week's question comes from Keith in Ohio.
Hey, YFP, Keith from Cleveland, Ohio here. Love your podcast. Been following you guys for a long time. But I had a question about if you've heard about these new or newer savings accounts from companies like Vanguard and Wealthfront. I know we've talked on the show about high-yield savings accounts before, which I definitely have partaken in, but these are a little bit different in that they allegedly promise, some of them, 4+% APY in interest growth, and allegedly they'll also give you an account and routing number so you can pay bills, and there's no fees, no minimums. I wonder if you've heard about them, what your thoughts are, what's the catch, if I'm missing something. Thanks for your help. Love your stuff.
Keith, thanks so much for taking time to submit the question. Appreciate you being a longtime listener. Tim, I can sense Keith's skepticism in the question of what's the catch? What's the catch? Allegedly. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I think I don't know if I don't want to say there's a catch, Tim, to be honest. I think the catch would be, and we've seen this in the student loan refinance market, the catch is wallet share. I think that, for people that are trying to, find a place to park their money and get the most, in terms of interest, this is an attractive thing. So, and it's not just Wealthfront and Vanguard. I think SoFi does this. Schwab does this. Most of the major players out there have some type of high yield, and a lot of it's buoyed by the fact of where interest rates go. And I was doing some research. Even high yield savings accounts, I've seen them go up as high as 4.75%. Most of them are in the 3.75 to 4% rate, these days. So I think Wealthfront is at like 4.3%. So, I looked specifically at the Wealthfront Cash App, and not because, I like them better than others, but just to kind of, look at some of the differences between this and a high yield savings. The big difference is that, it's kind of just an alternative. The cash account is just an alternative to, what we would call like a traditional checking and savings, because the traditional checking and savings are not necessarily bolted onto your investment, portfolio. But these cash accounts allow you to keep your savings essentially with your investment accounts, which could be a good thing, Tim, or it could be a bad thing. And even, we're kind of big proponents of even separating your savings account, like an emergency fund, from like an everyday checking account, kind of keep a little bit of separation there. So I think Vanguard's a little bit different, is that you have to have a brokerage account with them to have the cash deposit account. So, the ranges right now are anywhere between, 4.3, I think 4.4. I think I saw one at 4.2, right around that. The nice thing is that no monthly fees for these accounts. There's no overdraft fees. What I really like about it is, for a lot of high yield savings accounts, you have like a transaction limit. So if you withdraw, I think 6 or more times, then you kind of are penalized some interest. There's no such thing with this. You can get a routing number and an account number, as Keith said. You can get a debit card. It's important to note that they are FDIC insured. Obviously, right now we're going through a lot of that. So, it's I don't think there's necessarily a catch. Some of the transaction fees, might be a little bit onerous compared to like a traditional. So you might see transaction fees of, out of network ATMs and things like that. But I don't think anything that would say like, I don't want to do this. The big play here, Tim, is I don't want to say it's marketing, but it's to get you and as much as your wallet share under Wealthfront, under Vanguard, under Schwab. So, So then they can market other services to you. So, even when we talk about student loan companies, it's like, hey, refinance your student loans, but then they're saying open an IRA with us, remortgage your house, those types of things. So, I think that's the big thing, just being aware to that. Once you go down that route, then they're going to market to you for other services. All of these companies, even Vanguard now, I think they have a robo advisor component. You can work with real life advisors, CFPs as well. I think their minimum for that is like 500,000. So they're all moving to this. What is this kind of robo to advisor type of model? So I think just having your eyes open to that is probably what the catch is. But I don't think there's anything devious or going on. It's just a little bit. It's kind of just moving your cash accounts to your investments versus kind of where we are, kind of more traditional is what we talked about. And again, this is kind of a new wrinkle with regard to how to set up your your cash accounts, your everyday check-in, and your investment accounts. So yeah, I don't think any real devious plan outside of, hey, we want you, we want your wallet share as part of whatever company that you're going with.
Yeah, really good reminder, Tim, about the kind of the stickiness factor, right? The wallet
Yeah.
share factor. I think we're all looking for convenience and consolidation, and how can I make this whole process easier. So I think as you astutely pointed out, many of these, it might be an entry rate into the door, especially in a high inflationary period that we're at right now, where these rates can look obviously attractive and are on some level attractive. But what else might be offerings that are presented in the future? And that doesn't make these bad by any means, but just something to keep in mind from the consumer standpoint. So Keith, great question. Really appreciate you taking time to submit it. As a small thank you, we're going to be sending you another super comfy YFP t-shirt. For those listening, we'd like to feature your question on an upcoming episode. You can email us your question, info@yourfinancialpharmacist.com, or you can record it by going to yourfinancialpharmacist.com/ask YFP. As we wrap up this week's episode, an important reminder that the content in the podcast is provided for informational purposes only and is not intended to provide and should not be relied on for investment or any other advice. For more information on this, you can visit yourfinancialpharmacist.com/disclaimer. Thanks so much for listening and have a great rest of your week.